nations, especially in transfer of technology. We must remember that India was a victim. The 200 years of subjugation drained our nation of its resources and placed us on the back foot as several Western counterparts. In my humble opinion, any solution towards a greener future that is diverse from a nation's economic and social context in itself is yet another facet of injustice. I therefore conclude to say that we need to adopt an approach that could exploit synergies between development and change. Long-term measures such as awareness program, investment in climate research, collect knowledge generation, cross-border sharing of information are several such that should be the way forward. It is high time to think with nature, pay relation to it. Author Leo rightly remarked, and I quote, one of the first lessons of happiness is the link between and nature shall not be broken. The need of the hour is to devise a coordinated approach which would enable us to sustain a planet that continues to remain a nourishing home for generations to. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Justice Surikant, for your kind words. Let me now invite Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Ramakrishna Gavai, Judge, Supreme Court of India, to address this august gathering. Can we have a big round of applause, please?
His Excellency Shri Venkaiah Naidu, the Honorable Vice President of India, His Excellency Shri Purohit, the Governor of Punjab and Administrator of Union Territory Chandigarh, my esteemed brother, Honorable Mr. Justice, Honorable Mr. Justice Ayman Benjamin, Honorable Mr. Justice Mohik, the Chief Justice of Himachal, Honorable Mr. Shombi Sharp, the man behind today's conference, Honorable Justice Swatandra Kumar, Srimati Swatandra Kumar, Shri Satnam Singh Sandhu, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Shri Anmol Ratan Sidhu, the Advocate General of Punjab, Shri Vivek Tanka, the Senior Advocate of Parliament, the honorable judges from different jurisdictions in the world, my esteemed brother and sister colleagues from different high courts, the heads of various law institutes from India as well as abroad, the members of law faculty from the environmental field, the lawyers, senior as well as junior, and my esteemed student friends who are present in a large number, who are the future of the world. Pleasure for me to be with you all this August morning, to be a part of this international conference on environmental diversity and environmental jurisprudence, national and international. At the outset, I express my gratitude to the organizers, the Chandigarh University, for giving me an opportunity to be part of this important event, which will go a long way in addressing the environmental concerns which are faced throughout the globe. On a personal note, this event is important for me Honorable Justice Swadhantra Kumar, Justice for long years, and at that time I was neither a junior nor a senior judge and had an occasion to work with him. Then when we became a chairperson of the National Green Tribunal, I had risen to be a senior judge at Bombay and had an opportunity to participate in one of the conferences Bombay on whenever a mandate from him, we can't say, and therefore this is the second occasion that I am opportunity to participate in Organized University. The first was online, and this is the second reason is that the Honorable Governor of Punjab and I belong to that is Nagpur, and apart from that, he has been a very close friend of my father and also guiding factor for me when I was a lawyer and a judge at Nagpur. This of today's conference is crystallized by the Honorable Vice President of India. His concern, the environment could be seen for the years with us on this. Friends, today and tomorrow are significant days. The legal scholars, the environmentalists from the world can attempt to find out solutions on various aspects concerning the environmental issues. As already said by Honorable Justice Swadhantra Kumar, he believes in Vasudha Kutumbakam, that is, the entire world is a family. Today, we stand here unitedly. The side reminds us of global warming, and therefore such a conference which unites the legal scholars from different parts marks a significant step in combating environmental challenges. I have therefore no words to congratulate the organizers for organizing this two-day on such an important issue and making me the same. Since elaborate will be held technical sessions on various topics which have been chosen in this inaugural session, only briefly express my views. Though to address the gathering of 5 speakers in the 3 lawyers are client. Second one begins, my lords, I will not repeat the sentence. It's the same thing. And therefore there are bound to be sentences. As the old adage, we have not from our ancestors. Rather, it is right that we owe a collective duty towards our future generations. Tell them to cherish the ecology or environment like before them have. We see that in the recent past, in furtherance of realization of the world has awakened, attempts have been to deal with the issues seriously. One of such steps was the Nations Conference on the Human Environment at Stockholm in 1972. In the said conference, a unanimous decision was taken to take appropriate steps protection and environment improvement of human environment. Various countries in the world, in response to the said resolution, have enacted legislations for protection of environment. The Indian Parliament enacted the Environment Protection Act 1990 in furtherance thereof. Another significant development that needs to be taken note of would be the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, Rio de Janeiro in June 1992. In the said conference, a necessity to provide effective access to administrative proceedings, including redress and remedy, and to develop national laws regarding liability and compensation for the victims of pollution and other environment damage was addressed. In pursuance to the decision taken in the said conference, the National Greens Tribunal Act 2010 came to be enacted by the Indian Parliament. Under the said act, the National Green Tribunal has been established. It is possible that the man behind today's conference, Honorable Mr. Justice Swatantra Kumar, had an occasion to be chairperson of the National Green Tribunal. And I am happy to state that the National Green Tribunal, under his stewardship, has played a pivotal role in ensuring that the damage to the environment is prevented. Several orders passed by the National Green Tribunal applying the principle polluter pays have acted as a deterrent on the potential environmental damages. I will briefly on the important topics that will be discussed in today's conference and sessions. First of them is climate change, biodiversity, and policy framing. The set further subdivided into various themes. The adverse effect of climate change is noticed worldwide. Environmental diversity is a subject very crucial in as much as it forms a crucial element of balance around us. Various life cycles around, and any disturbance to this entails severe repercussions. It is therefore important to safeguard biodiversity. The capital of India, Delhi, had the hottest April 2022 in last 72 years. Everyone knows losing the Arctic ice at a rate almost per decade, and over the last 30 years, the oldest and thickest ice in Arctic has declined by a stunning 95%. If emissions continue to rise unchecked, the Arctic could be ice-free by 2040. The world will have to unitedly address the said concern. To fight excessive greenhouse emissions and for climate change are taken on war footing. In this respect, Plan Global Attempts Summit in 1992, the Kyoto Protocol, and more recently, agreement need to be mentioned. The Convention on Biological Diversity, signed in 1992, was the first crucial step which was taken in direction. The Indian Parliament has also enacted the Diversity Act 2022. It is an important act intended for conservation of biological diversity, sustainable use of its, and fair and equitable benefits arising out of the use of biological resources. Gap Report 21 shows that new net pledges combined with other mitigations put the world on for a global temperature rise 0.7% end of the century. About the goal of the Paris Climate Agreement and would lead to catastrophic changes in the Earth's climate. Below 1.5 degrees centigrade this century, the aspirational goal of the Paris Agreement, the world needs to halve the annual gas emissions in the next 8 years. The report recommends that in order to fight this, emissions from fossil fuel has to be reduced. In the area surrounding the stubble burning is also one of the reasons identified. An important sub-theme regarding ecotourism development and biodiversity after COVID-19 has been aptly chosen by the organizers. The ecotourism, apart from maintaining ecology and biodiversity, would also help in reducing the human-animal conflict. The promotion of ecotourism would provide employment to the local people and encourage them to become volunteers in the movement of preservation and biodiversity. The next topic, air pollution and advantages of green energy, chosen by the organizers, is also relevant. Everybody is about power generation by traditional and conventional methods. The disadvantages are many. Apart from depletion of natural resources, it also greatly contributes to the air pollution. Out of place to mention that in various parts of India, on account of shortage, the energy crisis is being switch to national renewable energy very important in the somewhat promising. It may be mentioned that in different parts of the country, an emphasis is placed on solar energy. The climate of India gives a high potential for solar energy, and in fact is in that direction. Even the worldwide is promising of renewables in global electricity generation has jumped nearly 28% in 2020 from 26% in 2019. It is a matter of the electricity being generated from conventional resources such as coal and gas constitutes 60% of global electricity supply. An important subtopic would enable to debate on the role of welfare state and its institutions. A welfare state is required to take every step possible to ensure the welfare of the citizens. Pollution-free environment is one of the important aspects for life. A discussion in this regard, important guiding star. The third topic chosen is with regard to development and its relevancy in the present time. We can deny that development is necessary for economic progress of the nations. However, the development has to be balanced with preservation of environment. While development, it's necessary that it should be ensured that damage environment and biodiversity is made. Measures for deforestation have to be scrupulously implemented. Meeting of minds of various experts from the world, economic sessions to innovation of policies, which shall in turn try to find out a balance between development and environment. The last reason is PIL, a tool in the present time, a balanced outlook. The public interest litigation was introduced in the Indian jurisprudence so as to enable a person to approach the constitutional courts on behalf of the marginalized sections of the society who, on account of their socio-economic backwardness, were knocked the doors of the court and the High Court. The rule of law was diluted by the Supreme Court of India. A person who is not really aggrieved was permitted to come to court on behalf of the have-nots. In public jurisdiction, Supreme Court and the High Courts in India have played a pivotal role in providing marginalized society. Particularly in the matter of environmental law, the Supreme Court of India has always been proactive. In the case of T.N. Godavaran, to which my learned brother referred, the Supreme Court of India has been using the jurisdiction of issuing continuous mandamus, various orders in order to protect ecology and biodiversity. Of continuous mandamus by the Supreme Court of India and that the green cover in India is not only protected but has also increased to some extent. Various orders passed by the Supreme Court of India with regard to protection of wildlife, conservation of tigers have also been very useful. It is on account of various orders passed in MC Mehta that various polluting industries were required to be shifted outside Delhi. It is on orders passed by the Supreme Court of India that the polluting not plying in the national capital region and mandatorily only non-polluting buses were permitted to ply within the city of Delhi. Yes, right, Article 21 of the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court held that right to potable water, right to pollution-free environment are fundamental rights. My learned brother, Justice Suryakant, has also referred to some of the orders in the Western countries. I would briefly refer to orders passed in the neighboring jurisdictions. The Malaysian Court of as early as in 1996 in the landmark judgment in Tantek Singh and recently 2021 in the judgment related to TRK project has held that the term life also includes quality of life, thereby including air and potable water as fundamental rights. The recently framed Constitution of Nepal to safeguards the rights to clean and fundamental rights to a level can be enforced effectively throughout. The Supreme Court, also one of the more active ones, enforcing the principle across through publications. Evidence in the judgment in context of Chandigarh plant, where the company which was running the plant, was held to be liable for the wells of the residents nearby the project areas, and the company was directed to pay compensation to the local residents. On a personal note, it is a matter of satisfaction for me that the lawyer, as a judge of the High Court, and now as a judge of the Supreme Court, in a little way, I could contribute to the protection of the environment. Insofar as Chandigarh is concerned, it is by the Sukna, passed by the Sukna lake, which was on the way, a dry lake was prevented. Since a lot of these principles and topics will be elaborately discussed in technical sessions, I would not much on. However, it will not be out of to mention that there is always a criticism about overreach in exercise of PIL jurisdiction. Nobody can deny that PIL has substantially contributed for protection of, and therefore judicial activism is necessary. Find role that is the executive and the judiciary. To the city, to step in and act proactively. Therefore, judicial activism is bound. However, a proper balance has to be struck. The judicial activism should not be permitted to be into adventurism or terrorism. Leaders from the world, eminent law teachers and the experts in the environment will have many brainstorming sessions for the next 2 days. Ideas and knowledge in these technical sessions would certainly be in providing solutions for many of the environmental concerns. I once again congratulate the organizers for organizing this important conference, and I thank them for permitting me to be a part of this August gathering. I extend my heartfelt best wishes for the conference. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Justice Gavai. It is my great pleasure to invite His Excellency Shri Banwari Lal Purohit, Governor of Punjab and Administrator of UT Chandigarh, to share his thoughts.
Shri Venkaiah Naidu, Honorable Vice President of India, Mr. Justice Suryakant, Honorable Judge of Supreme Court of India, Mr. Justice Bhushan Ramkrishna Ji Gavai, Honorable Judge Supreme Court of India, Justice Antonio Herman, Benjamin Judge, Honorable Judge, National High Court of Brazil, Mr. Justice Ahmad Rafiq, Chief Justice, Honorable Chief Justice of High Court of Himachal Pradesh, Simla, Justice Swatantra Kumar, former judge of the Supreme Court of India, and former Chairperson, National Green Tribunal, and Mr. Sombi Sharp, UN Resident Coordinator of India, Mr. Satyam Sandhu, Chancellor of Chandigarh University, justices of other countries, faculty, and dear students. Professor, parents, and dear extremely to be here at the International Conference on Environmental Diversity and Environmental Jurisprudence and International Perspective. I am grateful to Honorable Vice President of India and Chandigarh University opportunity given to me to attend this August gathering and share my thoughts. Every conference requires a lot of efforts since the inception. Conference addressing a variety of important themes and sub-themes, giving enduring value to every discussion. This conference on environmental law is very important. There are which need to be immediately addressed at the also at the international level. Human 21st century protecting environmental resources, endless and destruction, maintaining ecological balance, rendered fragile by the excesses of 20th century entry program. The world's population has century alone and is expected to double or triple in the next century. The global economy may grow by a factor of 5 or 10, with it excess of energy consumption, carbon dioxide and deforestation. So we consider prospects of global suffering, environmental degradation, unlike anything in human history. Statistical data show that there are numbers which add up, and many of the species of animal and birds are at the verge of disappearing or already disappeared. The sea level is rapidly hitting a new record of 1.3 m above the 1993 levels. This is because of global warming, the melting of ice in Antarctica. The unseasonal resulted in destruction of crops and natural habitats. The use of artificial manure for agriculture, retention of high has resulted in poor soil health. Higher demand for irrigation has resulted in depletion of underground water level. These problems are to a particular nation as a threat to the entire world. Balanced environment is an part of our ancient tradition. Our scriptures have always taught us balance of relationship of animals and nature. It is said in our Yat Pinde Tata Brahma. That is, the body that is in entity is universe. Everything we do for ourselves affects our environment. Manu Smriti also mentions protection of environment and is important the preservation of environment and ecological balance. It says that injuring medicinal plants, suburb, herb, etc., should be followed by penance. Here, I tell you that to our ancient scripts, I quote, perhaps most have not learnt it. What was our culture that time, thousands of years ago? ऋषि मुनियों का क्या कल्चर? छोटा सा था अबाउट दिस पर्यावरण पर। मत्स्य पुराण में हाउ our forefathers 10 कूपे 10 वापी समो हृदय 10 पुत्र समोध्रुव है। ये मन का है। आई थिंक इट thousands of years ago. Means एक बावड़ी, यू अंडरस्टैंड बावड़ी? विलेजेस में बावड़ी 10 कुओं के बराबर होती है और एक तालाब 10 बावड़ी के बराबर होता है। एक पुत्र सी उस समय का एक 10 तालाबों के बराबर होता है और यहीं खत्म वृक्ष 10 के बराबर होता है। मत्स्य पुराण का उस टाइम वृक्ष को भगवान का दर्जा दिया उस समय में। आप कोट करता हूं, आई टेल यू अबाउट द पीपल का वृक्ष काटना टोटली वर्जित था। उसको भगवान के रूप में माना जाता है और उसको जलाना भी वर्जित। लोगों की आस्था का कैसे जोड़ा गया सुनिए। ये रचनाएं नहीं है, हजारों वर्ष पहले अपने की रचना। अपने फोर फादर्स एनवायरमेंट के प्रति चिंतित थे। उन्होंने किस तरह से रास्ते से how governments have been changed that I tell you. ब्रह्मा मूले ब्रह्मा त्वचे विष्णु आखा महेश्वर है पात्रे पात्रे देवाना वृक्षराज नमोस्तुते। मीन्स बल्कि जड़ें ब्रह्मा को रूप है। ये पीपल के वृक्ष पर जल चढ़ाना शुभ और पवित्र आ गया है। पूजा होती है, हमारे यहाँ करते हैं विलेजेस फैमिलीज पर जल पीपल को भगवान मानते हैं। हैपनिंग when we have forgotten all these things. इसको करने की जरूरत है, रिवाइव करने। along with all these and everything, the old scriptures, you will find out some collection I can provide you. Read it. ये मूवमेंट होना चाहिए, एक तरह से मूवमेंट। ग्रीक उस जमाने में था, nothing is happening. It is very important to organize our efforts to protect the climate environment. We will be a safe environment to every coming generation. So every citizen of every country makes a united effort to maintain balance of water, air and land. जैसा कि अभी कहा है जस्टिस कोटेड गांधी जी, that has provided everything for the greed. So character is about this to be, I think it should be just like green movement. बच्चों में, एजुकेशन में, has to go. ये करना चाहिए. And secondly, there has to be, that is in a One of the article I forgot, it was in Reader Digest. It was when there was a great shortage and problem in Japan. See, the Japan was, it has come up to that extent. You go and we are nowhere in comparison to Japan. You must agree. Japan has a lot. Sector was strong. Shortage of petrol production. And that time, Port introduced, whoever he may be, one Indian there. He was sitting in the bus by the side of the. He asked, made compulsion? Yes. I learned that everybody is moving and traveling through on transport. And even your prime also. He asked, I learned the Prime Minister is a very simple man. Yes. But I would like to meet that Indian told. I meet, sir, you are talking to the Prime Minister. That was the reply. Such a living that cultivated, inculcated. So today, however, we have access more information. It is essential that we re-examine ethically what we have inherited, what we are responsible for, and what we will pass on the coming generation. This is a pivotal generation. Global is possible. We have the capability and the responsibility. We must act before it is too late. And for that, I will request our sir, on this and environmental and all that, elect a minister just like an iron man who can't be manipulated. There are no soft-hearted man will be able to save this environment, I am telling you. In spite of all the judges and everybody. This is my request to you, and through you, sir, you can convey to the Prime Minister of the country. And this is my request to you. We have to bear in mind some impact on the environment and ecology of the region, state and the nation, that ensures sustainable development. We have to balance progress, consumption, conservation of resources. Often haste to deliver the long-term impact of development projects. But before today's success turns into tomorrow's latest, synergize economic development and environmental resources. Unfortunately, the initiatives at environmental protections are painstakingly slow. This everybody must agree. Countries are very reluctant to sacrifice their immediate gains, greater good of humanity, through measures that compromise luxury, material, mindless destruction, depletions of the continues unabated, different degrees in our countries. I feel piecemeal measures sporadically taken local governments won't make much of a difference unless such measures are sustained and supported by all of us, for all, everybody. Ideas from the top, but the movements that put them into effect have to work from bottom up. We need to assert movement that the people. It is only when we give direct stake in the environment, be it water management, forest conservation, on pollution control, that they will become active partners of government. To achieve this, I believe a sustained awareness campaign that involves organization, associations, municipal bodies, corporate sector, and educational. Why you are helping in that direction, but more in needed. Eh? As far as Chandigarh is concerned, I am your efforts to come. I would like to conclude by stating that in general, I feel the future. The rapid change in our attitude toward the earth are a source of hope. As recently as a year or two ago, we thoughtlessly devoured the riches of the world as there were no end to them. We failed to realize unchecked consumerism was disastrous for both the environment and social welfare. Now, both individuals and government are seeking a new ecological and economic order, and the environment are working day and night for the protection of environment. We must appreciate, and we must agree also. The present international conference on environment and environmental jurisprudence is also the eminent intellectuals and their thoughts after deliberation will be delivering results. I am into an active, fruitful discussion. Conference will leave everyone motivated and ready to do things. For that, I am sure. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Discussing prospects of the present and reflection of the past. And this is also an opportune time to reflect on the past of this university. Chandigarh University has tabled its university annual report before this August gathering, and I kindly request His Excellency, the Vice President of India, Shri Venkaiah Naidu, to please release the university annual report. Hand it over to him. Can we have a big round of applause, please? So finally, the time has come to invite our chief guest for today, His Excellency, the Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu ji, to share his thoughts with us, address this August gathering. I kindly invite His Excellency to share with us.
सम्मानीय राज्यपाल पंजाब श्री बनवलाल पुरोहित जी, Honorable Bhushan Ram Gavai, Judge Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice Surikant ji, Judge Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice Antonio Herman Benjamin, Judge National High Court of Pradesh, Honorable Justice Mohammad Rafiq, Chief Justice of High Court of Himachal Pradesh, Honorable Justice Swatantra Kumar ji, former Supreme Court, and also Chairperson of Green Tribunal, who is also in this conference. Sri Harjot Singh Bains, Minister of Government of Punjab, who is here in this function. Sri Sombi Sharp, UN Resident Commissioner, Coordinator of India. Sri Satnam Singh Sandhu, Chandigarh University, eminent jurists, distinguished delegates, faculty members, dear students, and also honorable judges of other for all this program. My son, brothers, I am really delighted to be here with you at this international conference on environmental diversity and environmental jurisprudence, national person. Very apt, very purposeful conference. So I compliment Chandigarh University for hosting this event and also the honorable judges participating in these discussions. I am sure to go a long way in motivating each one of us to and make a positive difference to the planet, which is our common home. Scientists overwhelming how the most certainly man-made causes which have led to climate change as well as driving a million species to extinction. In the quest for development, they have harmed the nature and repair. The forests disrupted ecological balance, polluted the environment, encroached upon water bodies, and are now the adverse consequences. Some of my may appear to be very harsh, but they are what is required. The conference, the message of the conference is change of mindset. We have enough laws. But what is required is change of mindset of everybody. Unless this environmental protection becomes a people's movement worldwide, the future is very bleak. Seeing the consequences. We have played with nature and nature is playing. So my advice to the people is love and live with the nature. Culture together for future. Advice to all people, every one of us should respect the nature. We used to be very happy. We were not supposed to be that much advanced. We used to have a peaceful life because we used to love and live with the nature. As we started destroying the nature, the problems started coming. Development is equally responsible, but ecological balance also is important. There is a balance. This has to be in mind. During my childhood, my grandfather used to say in Telugu, Chimaku chakkara betti. That means you give to the ant and they bite you also, hurt you. But you give Pamuku palu posi. That you give milk to this which bites you. But in spite of that, you give milk. Third, Pasuvuku botu betti, all the animals, they used to be applied tilak and also decorated at times. The importance of animal. And fourthly, chuttu betti. And there used to be won't pray the trees, respecting the nature. This was part of our culture. This was part of, and our life was really at that time. As we started neglecting all this, we are now reaping the adverse effects of the same. This has to be understood. This is universal. It is not applicable to only India. It is universal for the entire world. So we need to do introspection and take actions to meet the reality of rising temperatures, increasing extreme damage biodiversity. It is not only the government to deliberate on this, but it is the duty of every citizen and human being on earth to save this planet. Like the Prime Minister also gave a call for Andolan. इसको एक जन का रूप देना चाहिए. This is true. Unless it becomes a people's movement, unless each one of us participate in this environmental protection, it is going to be difficult in the future. Our civilization values have always taught us in harmony with nature. In fact, the concept of ecological protection is embedded in our DNA from time immemorial. As you know, we have traditionally revered and said natural resources, including fauna, rivers, and mountains. Shloka from Atharvana Veda, Prithvi Sukta goes thus: whatever I dig from thee, O earth, that have, O, may we not injure the vitals or thy heart. This is said even in Atharvana Veda. The Sukta calls for conserving natural resources, warns against excessive exploitation, and seeks forgiveness from the Mother Earth. In the same spirit, our Constitution also enshrines the principles of environmental protection, both in the fundamental duties as in directive principles. The recent IPCC gives a dire warning about worsening climate change in the coming decades if we don't take prompt action immediately. In particular, the report suggests that exceeding the 1.5 centigrade warming level would have a severe impact, and that even if the countries were to adhere to their towards reducing emissions, warming will still exceed 0.5 centigrade during the 21st century. This clearly shows that we have to do more and do something without any delay. Living. This is the prerequisite for progress. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention, and have the retention, they will act as pretension. This is what is happening. Everything is happening. As if everything is all right. We are all suffering. But at the time, we are not realizing. And then resorting to collective style change. We need to make our students from a young age, they must be aware of the carbon and ecological footprint of their lifestyle choices. Parents and teachers teach children to care for their natural environment, flora and fauna around them as much they care for their physical environment. Dear sisters and brothers, on India's part, we have always been willing to commit and stand by those ambitious targets, leading the way for the world. This is despite the fact that as a developing country, India was not historically responsible for today's situation. Even while we have 17% of the world population, we contribute only 5% of the world emissions. This is no consolation. I'm not trying to justify even that 5% also. We must bring 0%. But comparatively, India taking all the steps that are required. True to India took the initiative in forging a collective act with various countries in the International Solar Alliance. In the recent COP6 summit in Glasgow, the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi declared our targets of raising non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030 and achieving of net zero by 2070. With enabling policies, institutional push and action, these targets are certainly achievable. The last aspect, that of collective action, is the most crucial. The words of Prime Minister, what we need is a mass movement of eco-conscious lifestyle, what I call as Jana Andolan. Yes, sisters, we have amongst distinguished the dais among the audience. We had the opportunity to hear some of their enlightenment on the status of environment in India. To be sure, environmental in India started long ago, and is seen in Kautilya's Ardhashastra, Chanakya's. In his treatise, Kautilya makes it clear the most important responsibility of a king is to preserve forests and protect wildlife. India today has more than 2 laws made for environmental protection. Among all of these, India is a party to a number of treaties and agreements related to environmental concern. There are regulations, but my advice is these regulations should not become a strangulation. It should become a facility and a guidance and a motive to the people. I wish to briefly recall this enacted progressive legislation, Wildlife Protection Act, Water Prevention Control of Pollution Act, Forest Conservation Act, Environmental Protection Act, among other laws with right earnest even before environmental discourses gained pace in the developed world. This spirit draws heavily from the ancient values that look at human existence as part of the natural environment and not as one that exploits it. The Honorable Governor has rightly explained us about our context. These legislations have a reason fact so far positive interventions and interpretations, including the tribunals. There are landmark judgments of the court and the high courts that have played a crucial role in not only delivering environmental justice but also in generating a public discourse about environmental conservation. Forward, the lower courts too must uphold this eco-centric view and keep the best in the local population and biodiversity in their judgments. They must act as against the violators of pollution laws and consider strict enforcement must pay principle whenever needed. So honesty at every level also required for this. Mere passing of laws or pronouncement by the judiciary is not going to solve the problem. It is equally coupled restriction, test implementation against the violators that is very much required. My dear sisters and brothers, I wish to briefly mention National Green Tribunal, India's specialized court for environmental matters. When it was set up, India was one of the few countries in the world to have such a specialized environmental tribunal. For the years, NGT has proven itself effectively and expeditiously disposing of cases relating to this particular discipline. Given the importance of preserving biodiversity, ongoing climate change, and growing demand for environmental litigation, I believe there is an urgent training more legal practitioners in environmental law. The poorer section should be made of their rights and legal recourse at their disposal. If need be, more specialized benches must be made in various parts of the country and environmental justice be brought closer to the people. Makers too must take cognizance of the importance of protecting biodiversity, mitigating the climate, and make legislations that maintain a fine balance between ecology and economy. A balance between ecology and the economy. We must also empower pollution control boards and civic bodies with the wherewithal, resources, technical expertise, and punitive powers to implement environmental laws effectively. Gram Panchayat, the three-tier administration, which are empowered by the Constitution for taking like water management, soil conservation, forestry, need to be further fostered for this purpose. I recall during my days, the entire village used together. They used to take care of the protection of the forest. There is forest in every village. and to take care of the grazing land for the sake of the cattle, the entire village. And my grand remember, you make announcement through the village servant that all has to assemble near the village. We used to call it as Ratsabanda, the platform. And then they used to say that tomorrow, as the season is going to set on June 6th, we should all go and collectively strengthen the tank stored. Take care of irrigation cannot repair them. It used to be active action by the society. It is to be maintained because everybody used to be concerned and everybody used to perform responsibilities. Now, we have everywhere government systems. Systems not succeed unless people are made to part in an effective manner. Or the attitude has crept in that everything by the government not worry. Sabka karega, hum bekar karega. This has to be everything to the government. Participation is vital. And after all, it is for the common good. It is for our welfare only. Laws, these relations made. So this must be made to understand importance of this. Environment, soil conservation, forestry, and also the other common had to be collectively implemented. The grassroots level bodies, local level, they should make the people to participate in the decision. Man has tinkered too long. Today there is a need to reverse this hazard. It is a question of mindset and an ability to control human greed. As the former speaker, Mahatma Gandhi had said, nature has enough for man's need, but not greed. Much before the climate change began, Gandhiji has said we should act as trust natural environment, and it is our responsibility to ensure that we bequeath to the future generations a healthy planet. Duty is our responsibility. We must remember and live by these words. Lead better and ensure our grandchildren have better quality of life in the years to come. My dear sisters and brothers, I am once again very happy inaugurated this conference. I heartily compliment Justice Kumar, who is coordinating this entire conference, took initiative, requesting me my office. Since long, because of COVID, we have to postpone this. But finally, it is happening, and I could see leaders from legal community participate in this, and also delegates various parts of the globe as well as from various parts of the country participate. We have to learn from each other's experience. That is the purpose of these conferences. From each other's experiences. Follow the best practices. Lead the best life. That is of this conference. Confident, these 2-day deliberations, while you have so many subject sessions, where a detailed presentation can be made, it answers also. The conference, I am sure, is going to open a new chapter in environmental protection, and I am confident that the techniques that will follow will present you opportunity to reflect upon the need and our role in environmental protection. Again, what I say, nature, prepare to get a better future. Love and live nature. Thank you. Now, Jai Hind.
thoughts, anecdotes, ruminations, contemplations will stay with us. Without any further ado, let me welcome Justice Swatantra Kumar, Judge, Supreme Court of India, former Chairperson, National Green Tribunal, and Chairman, Advisory Board of Chandigarh University, along with the Chancellor, Mr. Satnam Singh Sandhu of Chandigarh University, to present as a token of appreciation a memento, Honorable the Vice President of India, His Excellency Shri Venkaiah Naidu ji. A big round of applause, please. May I now invite Chancellor Chandigarh University, Shri Satnam Singh Sandhu ji, to present a memento as a token of appreciation, His Excellency Shri Banwari Lal Purohit ji, Honorable Governor, Punjab and Administrator of Chandigarh. A big round of applause, please. His Excellency was candid, was honest, was invigorating. He shared with us. May I now invite Justice Swatantra Kumar ji and a memento as a token of appreciation to Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Krishnan Gavai ji, Judge, Court of India. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and be ever so optimistic whenever it comes to environment. May I now request Sandhu ji, Chancellor, University of Chandigarh, Chandigarh University, to please present a memento to Justice Suryakant ji, Honorable Mr. Suryakant, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Thank you so much, Your Lordship, for sharing your thoughts and blessing our presence today. May I now request Ms. Sood, Senior Vice President, Chandigarh University, to please present a memento to Honorable Justice Shri Mohammad Rafiq, Chief Justice, High Court of Himachal Pradesh. Thank you so much, Your Lordship, for being with us today and sharing this with us. May I again call upon Ms. Himani to present a memento to Mr. Justice Herman Benjamin, Judge, National High Court of Brazil. Thank you, Justice Benjamin, for flag bearer of environmental judicialism, environmental judiciary, environmental law. May I finally request Himani ji to present a memento to Mr. Shombi Sharp, UN Resident Court of India, who's been a guiding light for all the United Nations efforts in India, and his undying efforts towards environment and protection have helped us achieve a better day every day. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharp, for spending time with us. May I request all of us to please rise the national anthem.